What is the purpose of this punishment? And some answer, why do we even need to have all these punishments and things? Why don't we just have a society without courts and laws and punishment? And there are a number of reasons why it's important for us to have this punishment. The first reason is to reform the criminal or the offender. So we talk about stealing, for example. If there is no punishment, why wouldn't the person steal over and over and over and over again? So to reform the criminal is one reason. To satisfy the victim is another reason, because a lot of it is part of the human nature to want to take revenge when you are wrong. That's why in many verses, Allah would say it is better to forgive, it is better to not just forgive, but even to do more good to the person who has wronged you. This requires a high level of moral standing to be able to forgive those who have wronged you. But Allah knows the nature of human beings and knows that what is common is that people want justice, people want revenge when they have been wronged. And it is the fact that there was no mechanism for people to get this justice, that during the pre-Islamic time, there was a lot of bloodshed and revenge killing. One person kills, so one person from this tribe kills someone from the other tribe, and then because of that, it leads to wars and clashes and shedding of innocent lives between these two tribes simply because of one life that was killed and justice was not done. So the second reason for having this punishment, not just the hudud, but the ta'zir, the qisas, and all these forms of punishment, is to satisfy the victim. So I have been wronged in this way, and then justice is done in that way, and I am satisfied, and I don't go after the offender or their family members in order to get my revenge. The third reason is to deter the people, the imitator of criminals. If people are able to get away with their crime, then many more people will follow in their footsteps. And we see that in today's world. A lot of people embezzle public funds because those who have done it before them didn't suffer any consequences for it. So that is why in Islam there are punishments for some of these things so that people are deterred from even doing them in the first place. When you know that, oh, if I commit zina, this is the punishment, lashing and exile for a year, then you don't even want to go near it. And the last reason, and perhaps the most important, is to protect the society. And we would see that most of in fact, virtually all the crimes that have a hard punishment is related to one of the five necessities, one of the five maqasid of Sharia, the five major things that the Sharia seeks to protect and preserve. If we look at qisas for life, for example, somebody who murders another person, you will see that this is related to the maqasid of the protection of life. If we look at the hudud for adultery and fornication, the lashing of 100 strokes or exile and stoning to death, you will see that this is related to the maqasid of the protection of lineage, that we do not mix up lineage and we know who is the father and who is the mother of every individual. If we look at the punishment of cutting the hand of a thief, we will see that this is related to the maqasid of protection of mal, the protection of property, of wealth of individuals. So if people are free to just disturb the rights of others, steal their property without any consequence, then we are not protecting this right that has to be protected. If we look at the punishment for alcohol, for example, for consumption of alcohol, we will see that this is related to the protection of the akal, the protection of the intellect. So basically, all of this punishment that have been stipulated are related towards ensuring that the society is protected, the society is sane, that there is justice. So, and if we look at the hudud, it is the maximum possible sentence, and basically it is to deter people and to remove evil from the offender. Now, Brother Rashid asked about blasphemy. We also said we will talk about cutting the hand of a thief. Now, with regards to cutting the hand of a thief, because this is something that comes up a lot. Oh, Sharia is just about cutting people's hands. And perhaps if we were in a Sharia country, perhaps half of the population would have only one limb, as some people would say. But this is not actually the case. Something to take note of is that because of the severity of the punishment of the thief, it is something that is only applied when there is no slight doubt that a person is guilty. So if there is any slightest doubt or uncertainty about the offense committed, then the hudud will not be applied. So which is why if you cannot produce 4 witnesses who witness the actual zina being committed, a person would not be punished. So you can't just say, oh, this person stole something without, so it has to be proven beyond reasonable doubt before the hudud can be applied. So if it can't, then the hudud will be waived. Also, if the offender, the criminal did the offense out of a mistake, they probably didn't know, oh, I also had a similar television, or I didn't know, I thought it was mine, I was told to go, whatever it is, once there is any element of doubt or that this person did this ignorantly, then the hudud will not be applied. And also, if the offense is committed out of duress or choicelessness, so this person stole because they were poor and they were hungry and they needed to feed their family, and then the hudud will not be applied. We actually had the case in the Syria of some slaves who were working and then they were very hungry and there was nothing for them to eat. So they went and stole a camel and then they slaughtered it and then they cooked and ate it. And when they were discovered and taken to Caliph Umar, after evaluating the case, he called for their employer, their master, and it was their master who was asked to pay back the camel. And Umar told him that the next time this happens, I will apply the punishment of stealing to you, because it is your responsibility to ensure that these people are fed and not pushed to stealing. So basically, with regards to stealing, this is a punishment that is only meted out when it is clear that this person is not pushed, there is justice in society. So Islamic law is not about cutting people's hands, but it's about achieving justice so that nobody even is required to steal in the first place. And also another thing to note is that there is a minimum value of what has been stolen before the hudud of cutting hand is applied. So you can't cut someone's hand for stealing a pen, like a 50, 100 naira pen, for example. According to scholars, some will say it has to be up to the value of 1/4 of a dinar or 10 dirhams, because this came from the earlier time, so they use their currency. I don't actually know what that value will be today, but it's something quite valuable. So it's not cutting people's hand for stealing 50 naira, 100 naira kind of thing. So that is about the cutting of hand.